We're going to be installing LSPDFR, and a lot of people love to see updated tutorials. Not much has changed, to be honest with you, so I'm going to go ahead and go through this really quick. The first part of the video is going to be the manual install of LSPDFR, and in my opinion, that is a better way to actually install this stuff because it'll allow you to install plugins a little bit easier in the future, as well as make sure that your RageHook is updated. The second part of the video is going to be the auto installer, a little bit easier to do it that way, and it gets you into the game a little bit faster perhaps. This video is going to be timestamped to make it a little bit easier viewing. However, just kind of follow along if you can, and just go to those timestamps that you feel like is necessary, and we're going to go ahead and get this thing running. Now, one important note, in order to play LSPDFR, it's imperative that you're not on a mission. For example, within GTA 5, maybe you saved your gameplay there, or you're not at the very start of the prologue. You have to get past the prologue first and be in a free roam state. So what I'm going to do now is launch GTA 5 in story mode. Highly suggest that you do that, because you need to make sure you're able to log into Social Club and get past all those barriers so that RageHook can launch LSPDFR effectively. We're going to launch into GTA 5 story mode first, as we have to make sure things are working correctly. This is the number one reason why most people fail when they try to install LSPDFR. They don't actually do this step right here, is to make sure they can log in through Social Club and actually get into LSPDFR. Now, once you're inside story mode, it's important to note to make sure you're not on any kind of mission. Maybe take a look at your map. Once you confirm that you're not on a mission and you're past the prologue, you're in a free roam state, pull up your cell phone, go over to quick save, and go ahead and create maybe a new save slot. Probably the best way to do it. Now you can safely exit the game, and then we'll guide you to the next step. We're going to keep our launcher there on our desktop because it may come in handy a little bit later if you're having trouble logging into the game with RageHook. For now, we're going to go to the internet. I'll give you the link for this. It is to LSPDFR direct download page, because sometimes this link is a little bit hard to find on their site. When you come to the download page, you're going to see LSPD first response, and it's going to be 0.4.9. Notice the build number. That is going to change throughout the year. So if you're watching this video 6 months from now, maybe even a year from now, just realize the build number will change and possibly the version number. The install process will remain the same. Now, this will probably be my fourth video on how to install LSPDFR, and this is the number one problem that most people have when they install LSPDFR, is that sometimes their Windows security, meaning Windows Defender, their firewall, loves to protect your computer too much. This is a safe program. I've been using it for almost 10 years now on my YouTube channel. But you'll see quite plainly right here a message from Cyan. Some antiviral software marked LSPDFR and RageHook as a virus. This is known as a false positive. No reason to be concerned. If your antivirus marks LSPDFR and RageHook as unsafe, as having odd issues running LSPDFR, you'll either need to exclude them from LSPDFR and RageHook files, meaning whitelist them. You can look that up on the internet, how to do that. Or if you want the basic way, you can also disable your antiviral software. Not going to go through all the details of that, but you could do a Windows search function down here at the very bottom. I'm going to type in Firewall, and we can go to the control panel, and you can click right there where it says turn Windows Defender Firewall on or off. You can always turn these off if you wish, and then you can just turn them back on a little bit later on. This will keep a lot of people from hanging up when they're trying to load into LSPDFR. Now we're going to download LSPDFR right here. I'm going to click on this file. Now there's a reason why I'm showing you all this. Now you have two decisions to make, and I'm going to show you how to install both ways, both auto installer as well as the manual install. And after watching this video, you just pick one that you think is going to be more suitable for you, and you download whichever one. This is going to be the setup exe version, the auto installer. This is going to be the manual install down below. One important note, if you try to click on the setup exe, notice it is a exe. That's an executable file. When you click on download, you'll wait a few seconds and it'll pop up depending on your browser. I'm using Google Chrome, and there's a reason why I'm showing you this. If you look to the top right, it says unverified download blocked. My Google Chrome does not like this file. I'm going to click right there at the very top. Your browser may not do this. Mine loves to protect me for whatever reason. So I'm going to click on download unverified file. We're going to start off with the manual version first because in my opinion, I think it's the most superior, and here's the reason why. Whenever they update LSPDFR to match a GTA 5 update, they will automatically update the RageHook that comes within the manual download. Sometimes the auto installer may not have a updated Rage plugin hook, which is needed for GTA 5. So just kind of keep that in mind. For now, we're going to do the manual install. We're going to pull up our main game directory. And once again, if you're having trouble finding your main game directory, look down below. There's a 3-minute video to show you how to find your main game directory for both Epic Games, Steam, as well as retail. We're going to open up the manual install version to the right, and it's a simple drag and drop procedure. Notice the Rage plugin hook is already included with this. We're going to take every single one of these files. You don't really need license. If you want to click off of that, you can. If you accidentally install it, no big deal. Matter of fact, I'm just going to install everything. Not a big deal. Does not hurt your game. We're going to drag these right into your main game directory and just let it fall. And that's it. You installed it manually. Pretty easy, right? And with you installing it manually, you know exactly where your Grand Theft Auto 5 folder is. And you have your plugins folder, your LSPDFR folder, which we'll talk about in just a moment. And you can start installing plugins, which we'll discuss in a later video. Now, since you installed this manually, look at the timestamp down below, and you're going to find out where to go next. It'll talk about the Rage plugin hook, how to launch it, how to get your police character started, as well as a few other tips about LSPDFR, texture loss, and some other cool stuff. So be on the lookout for that timestamp down below. This is going to be a timestamp in this video. It's going to be the auto installer of LSPDFR. You don't really need to have your Grand Theft Auto 5 main game directory open for this. So we're going to pull up the auto installer, and we're going to double click on this. Now, when I click on auto installer, your computer may freak out just like mine. Let me show you. I'll double click the auto installer. And even though I have my Windows Firewall turned off, my Windows Defender is still acting crazy. I don't let this worry you too much. I've been using this mod for 9.5, almost 10 years now on my YouTube channel alone. Not to mention LSPDFR for the last probably 14 years now. Completely 100% safe. No reason to worry about it. But if you feel uncomfortable, I respect that. Don't worry about it. Just click on don't run and then just click off the video. This video is not for you. Are you still here? Oh, good. We're going to go ahead and continue on then. Click on more info and just say run anyway right there. You'll get that pop up and just say yes. Select the language of your choice. Okay. Next. Read through this. We'll click on I agree. You can leave these checked as default. We're going to click on next. And it should automatically find your main game directory for GTA 5. Once again, if it's not finding your main game directory, don't let that worry you too much. There's a video down below that's 3 minutes long that is timestamped, by the way, to help you find your main game directory for both Epic Games, Steam, or retail. So take advantage of that if you're having a little bit of trouble finding your main game directory. Now, mine is stored to my E drive. Yours is going to be completely different, so just be aware of that. This will be defaulted to Launch LSPD First Response First Time Configurator. We're going to click on Finish. Say Welcome to LSPDFR Configurator. The configurator will guide you through the initial setup of LSPDFR. Advanced users can skip this. For now, we're going to go ahead and click on Next. Please accept the RageHook license. Click on Show License. Wait for this to count down, and then click on Accept. Change settings. We recommend disabling the version text rendering and setting all plugins to load at startup. For now, I'm going to click on Do It For Me. However, at the very end of this video, I'm going to give you some troubleshooting tips, just in case you're not able to log into LSPDFR. So for now, we're going to go ahead and say Do It For Me. And you'll see LSPDFR has been installed successfully. Click on OK. Let's pull up our main game directory. I'm going to show you a couple little useful tips for LSPDFR. Now, LSPDFR is completely installed, but one thing you need to note is LSPDFR is a resource hog. It loves to eat up your memory. It also loves to lag your game sometimes. So one quick bit of advice I'm going to tell you to change. If you go to your LSPDFR folder right here in lower capital letters, click on that, and you'll see lspdfr.ini. If you don't see the extension there, INI, don't worry about it. Go to View right up here at the very top. This is for Windows 11, and you can probably find it for Windows 10 as well. Go to View, go to Show. Make sure File Name Extensions is checked off right there. When you double click this, it should open in Notepad. If it does not open in Notepad, just right click and say Open With, and just say Notepad. I don't want to go too detailed with this, but the biggest takeaway from this video, since we just installed LSPDFR, is to make sure that very top line right there, you see that? Main preload all models, it says equals true. We need that to equal false. That's going to save you a world of trouble with texture loss right there alone. We're going to click on Save. We're going to exit the LSPDFR INI file. Another cool, useful tip is you can click on Keys right here. It's a Keys INI. You can find all your keys right here, what they mean. Also within LSPDFR that you downloaded is some documentation on how to work LSPDFR, how to pull over a vehicle, how to arrest people. This video is a simple LSPDFR install, so you may want to take a look at the documentation. Those are just a couple little useful tips for LSPDFR to kind of get you started. We're going to back up the folder right here, and we're going to scroll down here to Rage Plugin Hook. This is super important. We're going to click on Rage Plugin Hook. We're going to right click. For Windows 7 and Windows 10 users, look for Send to Desktop. For Windows 11, we're going to go to Show More Options, and then Send to Desktop. Now we have our RageHook that we're going to be playing with from now on. We're going to launch RageHook, and it'll probably take me to another menu. We'll see. When you launch Rage for the very first time, you're probably going to see a menu that looks just like this. My advice, change this right here from 10,000 to 60,000. That will allow RageHook a little bit more time to load LSPDFR as well as some other plugins that you decide to install in the future. Next, we're going to go to Plugins tab. Since we did the auto installer, we told RageHook that we want to load these plugins on startup. Notice that LSPDFR is checked off. We're going to click on Save and Launch here in a second. However, if you're having trouble getting into the game, it's hung up, it's not allowing you to get into the game, it's taking way too long, it's saying bad antiviral software, or simply crashing on you, be sure to watch towards the end of the video. I'll give you some useful tips on how to bypass all that. For now, we're going to click on Save and Launch, and you're going to get one more message before we leave. The settings dialog box, which is this menu system right here, if you click on RageHook like we did a second ago and you hold your shift key down for about 2 or 3 seconds, you'll get back to your Rage menu. That's important to note because we may need to do that here in just a moment. We can click on OK. You'll notice some words floating across your screen, and then you'll also notice that it's loading LSPD First Response. Now you may be noticing right off the bat, we're not a police officer. You may be thinking, why are you not a police officer as well? Well, you have to join the force. So let me show you how to do that. There's a couple of things you can notice about your map now if LSPDFR loaded effectively. If you press escape, you're going to notice you have some stars in your map. That's a great indication the LSPDFR has been loaded in. There's one right there. And if we tab over, you can see multiple police stations all across your map. These are different entry points that you can go on duty with. Notice there's one right next to me. Now, if I wanted to, I could walk right over there and hopefully they don't shoot me because we're Trevor. Just kidding. We can go on duty that way. Or I'll show you an easier way to do it, just in case you're in a completely different part of the map. If you press the escape key, you'll notice that you now have a LSPDFR button at the very top there, a tab. If you click on that, and within the LSPDFR tab, you're going to see a few things that you can look at. So if you go to character, you can switch character, go to nearest police station, go to apartment, or view your character stats. If you forget your keybinds, you're not sure really what to do, click on keybinds right here, and then click on enter, and it'll tell you all the different keybinds that you have. We're going to go back to LSPDFR, and once again, if you click on character right here, go to nearest police station. We'll click there, and we'll click on enter. You get the drift on that. If you're across the map, you'll get teleported to the nearest police station. Now, for any reason, if you start going towards the police station and you get a wanted level, there's a couple ways you could bypass that, and that is with Simple Trainer. Simple Trainer. I did a video about that. If you're wanting to take your wanted level off permanently, and trust me, Simple Trainer is the best trainer there is, right next to probably menu. Make sure you're never wanted. That way you don't have to worry about those wanted levels. We're going to press E. We're going to enter the Davis Sheriff Station. Now, it does not matter which station you go into. Either way, you'll still go on duty. For now, we're going to go to Davis Sheriff Station. Now, the reason why I said that is because I don't want to confuse some people that are brand new to the game, that if you go inside the Davis Sheriff Station, that now you're going to be in the Sheriff's Department. Or if you go into the LSPD station, then that means you're going to be an LSPD officer. It does not matter. Either way, you can go to either one, any police station, any sheriff office. You'll still end up right here. Now we click on Go on Duty. And no, that does not mean that Trevor is going to be a new police officer. We're cooler than that, right? So we got to go into right here, the select character screen. Look to the bottom right. I'm going to click on OK. And here's where you get to have a little bit of fun. There's a really cool little intro right here showing you're a police officer. And you can choose male or female. Make sure you name your police officer. And we're going to click on Use. You're going to want to get some type of uniform. So we're going to click on Police Locker. You go to Police Garage, and you can pick out a patrol vehicle of your choice. Here's a Police Cruiser, Police Buffalo, Police Interceptor, Stanier. Here's the Gauntlet Interceptor. It's a new one they added into LSPDFR along with the GTA 5 update. And Police Transport. Here's LSSD, San Andreas Highway Patrol, North Yankton. Here's Noose, FIB, SAPR, San Andreas Park Ranger. If you're not happy with the model, you can change it right here to the Stanier Cruiser. It's got the livery right there for Ellis County Park Ranger. Pretty cool. Ellis County Park Ranger K9. About we picked the new Gauntlet Interceptor. Pretty cool. Here's the LSPD livery, LSPD Modern, LSPD Light, LSPD Stealth, and just back to LSPD. And once again, you can change your components. Extra 1, extra lights, extra 2, just some extra lights at the very back, extra 3, some more lights inside, a little different light bar. Just kind of expands the light bar. Or you can take them all off like that. But if I press my left analog stick down again, just push it down, it will turn the lights on and off like this without having the sirens on. And here's the gauntlet interceptor with the light bar. So it's kind of cool. I like it. It's something kind of new they added in recently. But we need to kind of pull somebody over and make sure LSPDFR is functioning correctly. If you're on mouse and keyboard, it would be the left shift key. So for now, we're going to hit the A button. We'll tag them. You just look at the bottom left of the screen. You'll see the mini map. Now, once you establish that LSPDFR is indeed working, I'll show you a little trick that you can do. Everything we did earlier takes a little bit of time. So how about we make it easier? You can press F4 on your keyboard. It'll take you to the Rage console. If you type in forced duty after being on duty the first time, for example, if you type in FOR, you'll see it's typing out forced duty. Press tab and you press enter, you will now go off duty. That's one way to go off duty right there. A little bit easier to do it that way. And so like right now, we're off duty. We would not be able to interact with any of the civilians that are out here, these pedestrians, these PEDs, PCs. And so if you want to go back on duty, a couple ways you can do that. You can obviously go through the front door again. And remember, we're off duty. This would be the more, say, role play, guide, if you will, if you're going on duty. You are drunk. You can go through the locker room again, if you like. This is a little bit harder way to do it. And you'd come back over here again, and then you go back on duty, press the E key right here. Now, sometimes there's a glowing light right there, and sometimes there's not. So it kind of just depends. If you're in the locker room, if you press the E key, it should give you a prompt like this, and you can go on duty. I'll press the backspace key. We're going to stay off duty. And right now, we're still off duty. And the way you know that, if you press your B key, for example, there's no backup units, there's no way to even get any kind of menu function. And so I'll show you an easier way to do all that. You could be anywhere in the world. You could be clear across the map. It really does not matter. You could even be underwater. It really does not matter. If you press your F4 console again, or your Rage console, if you start typing in force duty again, press tab and press enter, you will now be on duty and you'll spawn in with your uniform. And that's how you can do that right there. If you want to change your uniform, go back inside the locker room and you can do that. If you press your M key as in M as in Mike. If you go to down here where it says police radio, you press enter key on police radio. You can do different actions. Right now, we have it set to none. If you do shoulder, that's your shoulder. If you do chest, go grab your chest. Earpiece, handheld, back to none. The radio in this case is on his left shoulder, so I'm going to say shoulder. Available for calls. That's why we haven't been getting any calls while we've been testing things out. Set mine to no. You turn that back on right there. You can also do request call. It's a request records check if you're doing like a ped stop, for example. You can also say close nearby roads. This is actually kind of useful. Top left of the screen, you have request the closure of nearby roads. Roads may be reopened manually through the interaction menu again. And I do believe it works better if you have a vehicle pulled over. So just kind of be aware of that. And if you're wondering why traffic is diverting so much, it is because you actually set that for the police radio and you have closed nearby roads. Here's your inventory system. You can equip a ballistic shield. Kind of cool. You can remove ballistic shield. Place down an evidence marker. But there's different ways to mod those, by the way. You don't have to say FIB. Nothing in this game has to say the same, including the menus, everything else. Maybe we'll do it more right there. I found that just the plain yellow ones look better. There's a mod on the LSPDFR.com site to do that. Whenever you get done with that, just make sure you walk up to them and press the E key if you're on mouse and keyboard. This is an example. You don't want to leave any evidence markers behind. And I don't mean for RP purposes. I'm talking about for possible glitching purposes. Because if you're out and about, I think they fixed this now, but I remember when they first implemented that, I was about 300 feet away and I accidentally pressed my E key and I spawned back here again. So just make sure that you pick these up first before continuing on patrol. Within the M menu, the settings menu, you can go back to settings. You can do last played character. So if you have a male or female character or different hairstyles, things like that, if you have more than one character, you can do last played or you can do random. Spawn location, super important. You do the apartment. Next time you load it to the game, you'll spawn into your apartment. And yes, you do have an apartment. You spawn at the police station, which makes it really nice. Or you could do random. For now, we'll leave it as apartment. Owned apartment. So you have a total of 4 apartments to choose from if you want to make them your residence, for example. You have 3 in the city and 1 up north around Grapeseed. So here's Spanish Avenue, there's Hillcrest, Integrity Way, and there's 1 in Grapeseed. For now, we're just going to pick Hillcrest. You don't need to select anything. All you have to do is press the backspace. Here's the fun action thing that a lot of people forget about with LSPDFR. Here's none. This is Intimidate. You may be thinking, well, it's not doing anything. I'll show you how it works. So here's Intimidate. If you hold down your cap lock key, you'll notice he grabs his invisible gun, which we'll talk about in just a minute, okay? Here's Flash Badge. Here's Dance. Here's Drink Coffee. Just hold down your cap lock key, and he'll keep doing that. If you let it go, he stops doing that. Drink E-Cola. Donut. Eat some P's and Q's. You can also set it to none. Personally, I like Intimidate. And that way, remember, it's the cap lock key. So whenever you're walking up to a vehicle, press your cap lock key and you can keep walking just like this. Your dialogue could be friendly, like hi, for example.
Hi.
Bye.
See you around.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Shocked.
Damn.
Player mood. We have normal. If you take a look at his face, so you have normal, happy, angry. There's the walk style a lot of people forget about with LSPDFR. This is normal. Here's Fem. Hey. Gangster. And yes, this is all basic LSPDFR, by the way. People just forget about this menu. Here's Posh. Tough guy. Groovy. Here's the cop one that most people think about. Now, the reason why you may pick cop, for example, is mainly for screenshots, things like that. A lot of people ask me, how do you get them to grab the belt, within the game with LSPDFR? Well, that's actually a very basic LSPDFR function. If you have cop selected as a walk style, if you back out of that and just let your character, just let him sit there for a second, grab a hold of his belt just like that. We'll continue that animation as long as you hold him still. And there's illuminate clothing, there's off, there's on. Not much really difference on that. Now, speaking of clothing, take a look at my video down below. It's about the emergency uniform pack. If you want your uniforms to look spot on, the perfect jacket, whether you're undercover or if you're sheriff or park ranger or whatever, I got tons and tons of information in there for you for the emergency uniform pack. That tutorial is 100% up to date. No reason to repeat it at the moment. It is 100% up to date, and I do believe I have everything linked on that video. So take a look at that video if that interests you. That way you can get your uniforms to look not like this, but like this. Much, much better. Now on to the number one question that I'll usually get on YouTube comments, which undoubtedly I'll still get because they won't watch this part of the video at all. They'll scrub through it. Is will this work on your PlayStation or Xbox or say console in general? The answer is no. This takes way too many scripts. It will not work. Number 2, will this work on a pirated version of GTA 5? A quick answer is no. You're a cheap bastard. Go buy it. Now, there's a particular error message that a lot of people get with LSPDFR. It has to do with the launching of RageHook, and it may say like bad antivirus or something like that. That's a real common error message, and it has a lot to do with the way RageHook is trying to hook its way into the game for Grand Theft Auto 5. You could do a couple ways. You could try to turn off your firewall, which chances are you probably already did that. You could try to maybe either turn off your Windows Defender if you have that installed, which most probably people will, or McAfee or Norton. There's a lot of other antiviral software that people have. You can try to disable that. If you don't want to do that, you could also go on Google and learn how to whitelist a folder within your PC. And that way it will allow certain elements of that entire folder to get through the firewall and also the antiviral software. Another way you could try, this is a really cool way to try. A lot of people forget about this method, is to go ahead and launch GTA 5 just like you normally would in story mode first. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to go ahead and launch it. And right now I have my landing page set to story mode. So if you can just get to your landing page just like this, and you may need to change some settings. If you're already inside the game and you're not getting to a landing page that looks like this, and you're having to rush to do what I'm about to show you, don't worry about it. That means your landing page is not turned on. When you're inside the game, you're going to press escape, go to your settings. It's going to look sort of like this right here. Look to the bottom left. right there, and make sure your landing page is turned on. That's the reason why I'm just bypassing this particular screen right here. And believe me, it looks really nice to go ahead and go straight into story mode, don't get me wrong. But for the sake of what I'm trying to show you, so we get Rage to launch properly, you're gonna need to make sure that is on, and then may have to fire up Grand Theft Auto 5 again. If your landing page is already on, what you wanna do is press your window key. Your window key. It's right next to your keyboard or your left alt and also your left control key. Press your window key. And notice I have my Rage launcher right here on my taskbar down here. You could do that same thing, or you could just click over here and you can start to double click Rage Hook if you want to. Once you double click Rage Hook, go back into your game and then double click story mode. And it'll do this. It may take you out of the screen. Don't let that worry you. Rage Hook is still running. Go back over here and click on your GTA 5 just like this. And that way you can bypass all that. And you can see LSPD first response being loaded in right there. You remember we selected apartment to be our spawn location. That's why we're inside of our apartment now, which is kind of cool, right? One more thing you could try, if none of that is working for you, is we're going to take Rage Hook just like this. We're going to double click Rage Hook and hold down our shift key for about 2 or 3 seconds. I'll double click Rage Hook, and now I'm going to press my shift key and hold it down. And then this is your Rage console. This is what we were at the very beginning. Remember your Rage console key is default to F4. You can always change that. And then your plugins. Remember we have load these plugins in startup. I'm going to show you a little trick that you can do. How about we say don't load any plugins on startup. That includes any other plugin that you may have installed. If you're watching this video and you installed other plugins, for example, and something went wrong, don't load any plugins in startup. Go over here to game settings and then click on command line switches. The biggest thing that I've noticed with LSPDFR loves to crash sometimes. If you click on force Windows mode right there, don't let that worry you. That does not mean you have to play in force Windows mode. It's just to load into the game a little bit more effectively with the Rage Hook. Once that is ticked off right there, we're going to save and launch the game and see where we get. The point is, once we save it, it'll remember those settings for the next time. Remember, don't load any plugins in startup. So we're going to save and launch. And remember, if we have our landing page on, don't let that worry you still. Rage Hook is still loading in the background still. You can actually come over here and you can still click on story mode with a Rage plugin hook if you want to. That's only if you have your landing page turned on, which means under settings, if this is turned on right there, it will land on this page. If you want to turn that off, it'll go straight to story mode. But sometimes it's advisable to do that because it'll help with load into Rage a little bit easier that way. For now, I'm going to go ahead and click on story mode with Rage plugin hook. Now Rage Hook is loading into the game. You'll notice also at the very bottom of the screen that LSPDFR is not being loaded in. So this is what we're going to come in as, just like this. So the very first thing to do, most people panic because they're like, oh, I don't want to do this. Remember, there's always a way to fix everything, guys. So what we're going to do is press your Alt key plus your Enter key. Alt plus Enter at the same time. Alt Enter. It'll take you right out of the Windows mode, if you will. The next thing we want to do is load LSPDFR. So remember, it's a plugin, so we can always load that. Press F4. And let's type in load plugin. Start typing it out. Once it starts to spell it out for you, press your tab key, press space, and notice that's the only plugin we have installed at the moment. So we could probably type in LSPD, or start typing it in, press tab, and press enter. Once you do that, it'll load LSPDFR in the background. And right now it's being loaded in, and we got it to load properly just like that. And that's another surefire way to get into the game first before you load LSPDFR. That way, if it crashes inside the game, then that way you know it's an LSPDFR issue. And so you can see right now we're really not on duty yet because we're not wearing a uniform, but this is our character. And so we could go to a police station, or you could do right here F4 and go to PD. Press enter and do that. Or you could do it the easy way, which I found the easiest way. F4, and we're going to erase that. We'll start typing in force duty. Press tab, press enter. And now we are on patrol. Now the only problem is we don't have a car right here. That's okay. If you have simple trainer, you could always spawn in a police vehicle that way. There's a lot of ways you can do it. And you can also do it this way too. If you press F4, you can type in, remember this is just default vehicles here. So we can type in spawn space, and then how about the word police? You can say police. You can also do police 2, police 3, and so on and so on. How about police 3? Press enter, and it will spawn a police vehicle of our choosing. If it's sheriff or sheriff 2, you'd put that in instead. And now you can go out on patrol like that. It's kind of an easy way to get on patrol if you just want, you don't want to have the hassle of going to the the police station and all that. And now you're officially on duty. Now this vehicle is not the best. That's why I did a full car install tutorial from start to finish, a full walkthrough. Yes, it's a very, very long video. And yes, 100% timestamp, by the way. It took me hours and hours to record that. It talks about how to keep your cars from flipping, how to rename vehicles, how to install a cool car pack. Actually, not one, but 2 car packs for both police and sheriff slots. Some really cool open, IV, some people call it open 4. Really cool tips with that. It helps you get going with all that. So I'd advise you to take a look at the car install tutorial as well. There's tons and tons of tutorials on my YouTube channel. So be sure to check that out. But I think that's going to be probably wrap it up right there. If you are still having problems after all of that and you still cannot load into the game, my advice is to probably go onto the LSPDFR forums. I'll link the exact link that you need down below. So post your question on there if you're having issues or difficulties. That way they can see your files. I cannot help you through YouTube comments, unfortunately, because I can't see your files, but they can see it over at the lspdfr.com site. Hope you guys appreciated it. And if you're new to the channel, think about subscribing. I'd love to have you over here. This video took a very, very long time to make. So I'm trying to cover as much as I can and then edit the hell out of it. So that way it's more digestible, more watchable. Until next time, we'll see you on the next patrol. Take care and stay safe.